Hey there, welcome. Today I wanted to talk about blaming, complaining, shame, guilt, and our reactivity to any sense of failure in ourselves or even other people. And this is going to be slightly more rambly than usual, but this came to me in my meditation today, and it kind of came and went pretty fast, but I felt it was important to contemplate, to speak about. And some things I'd like to say are just kind of like base level. If we find ourselves blaming other people and complaining a lot about our job, our people around us, society, our family, our coworkers, our boss, our loved one, just people with different political or worldviews, we should probably just not. And I think this is a funny one because I think we all know this intuitively. I think we all know, yeah, it's probably better for me to just focus on my own shit and joy and love and the things I can control. And to kind of separate complaining from constructive criticism with people that are consenting to receive said criticism and, have the tendency to actually work on it, or at least have a conversation about it calmly and, compassionately. But I find, we're really in a society of complaining and blaming, and I really think it's very similar to the projection video I made, where it's actually our own shame, our own guilt, our own sense of failure, our own sense of we didn't do it right or we're not good enough. And then we bring that into our perception of other people. We manifest a version of other people that deserve that blame and the complaints as well. In Sanskrit, blaming, complaining is actually one word. At least there is a word that covers both. It's called aksepa. And basically naksepa is not doing this. And so it's one of the virtues I highly recommend for people is naksepa, which is not blaming, not complaining. It's kind of like not pointing the finger. And it includes our own sense of contentment, our own sense of joy and happiness, because our mind can do pretty much anything as it is infinite. So we can always find a problem. We can always find somebody that is doing something we disagree with. And I think we get into these habits similar to the projection habits because we want this sense of ease, this sense of comfort, this sense of things are okay, but oftentimes we want it instantly. We want it really quickly. We evolved to want quicker pleasures, quicker comforts, convenience. I think this is obvious. I don't think there's a big argument against this. But I think this extends to even if when we blame and complain about others, we put the problem on the world or someone else, and then we feel justified in it, and we can't control it. We know we can't control it. We know we can't go into their body and mind and force them to do all these changes. So it's very easy to just quickly blame and then feel good about ourselves, because deep down we know there's nothing we can do about it. But this is in fact us not facing our own shame and guilt about our own failures. The fact that we even have a framework in our mind that believes in blame and complaining, that people can do things that don't meet our standards so we can blame them and complain about them, means that we have a standard, means we have a framework for this. Almost always our own self isn't going to meet this at every corner, at every turn. It's almost impossible. Life throws so much at all of us. There's so many pressures, there's so many things to do, there's so many distractions, there's so many ways to be imperfect, there's so many people that are better than us. The odds of someone who blames and complains about others having their own sense of self meet all their standards so they wouldn't experience shame or guilt is very low. And so usually what it is we have this standard, this belief system, this, value of what failure is and isn't, what's right and wrong, yada yada, what's good, what's bad. And so we're most likely not meeting it every day, all the time. And so we feel shame and or guilt about that, but we don't want to face that because that would be a lot of work. That takes more time, it takes energy, it means detaching from certain habits and patterns, it means transformation, which is beautiful and in the end much easier because it actually makes life beautiful. But it's more effort than quickly saying, Francis sucks at this, it's his fault that this happened. That's super easy. Can't control Francis, so you just get to complain, feel good about yourself, don't have to face our own shame and guilt and our own errors. But in reality, there's no errors. There's no failure. That's just a standard that we've adopted, probably made a collage of with the people around us, the things we've experienced in the world, and it doesn't exist. It only exists in the sense that we keep perpetuating it with our consciousness. But it's a false standard. It's a false set of values. And really, there's no such thing as failure because this is eternal. Things just keep going. And so we have no reason to really feel shame and guilt. So if we detox our own being from that, we also have no reason to blame and complain about others. Like, well, they didn't necessarily do anything bad or wrong because they're just also infinite beings living their infinite crazy lives. So there's multiple ways we can take it, but like the detoxification of any sense of failure in our own self can help us transcend shame and guilt, and then we don't really have anything to blame or complain about in others, especially when we take hold of our own self-awareness and don't really react negatively to things out of our control. Secondly, we can see that what we call shame and guilt sometimes is beyond any sense of failure. It's actually just the universe manifesting these feelings almost karmically. We manifest feelings of shame and guilt because our interconnected, intuitive, infinite self knows that something we're doing, that we keep doing, that we're attached to, is causing suffering, whether it's in ourselves or others. And then so we feel shame and guilt almost ambiguously to stop doing that. Just like we don't put our hand back on the stove when it's hot because of that pain. There's more subtle, nuanced pains of our feelings that also occur in the universe related to how we treat other beings, which are really, at the end of the day, just ourselves, just God. And that's where, blaming and complaining will be fine-tuned intuitively and consciously into consented, conversational, constructive criticisms, where it is just love to talk about things that cause suffering or cause some level of, illusion and untruth, and we talk about them so that we can make that not happen. So this is just a quick video because we all know blaming and complaining is like super present in our lives and in this world, and most of the time it's really just us not facing ourselves. And if we face ourselves, we can at least first, work on our own shame and guilt by realizing that there's no such thing as failure, and then we apply that to all beings because that would be the only coherent thing to do. And then feelings that arise that seem like shame and guilt, but they're really undescript, then we can actually work with the reality, which is this interconnected love of all existence. Thank you so much for watching. Om Saram.